So today I thought we will do the midterm exam for last semester, and the reason is that it's very similar to the format of the final, and it's also much shorter. So hopefully we can cram it in this 1 hour we have, or maybe we will run over, a few more minutes, maybe a bit more. I don't know. But it will be the same format in the final exam. You will have a set of multiple choice questions, okay, 50 multiple choice questions, and then there will be a programming assignment. Now, I posted the full instructions for the final exam on ELC so that you can read it before the exam. It will be printed on the exam sheet, but this will give you a head start. If you read it before coming to the exam, you will have a few more minutes to work on the questions, okay? So 2 parts, multiple choice questions, and then a programming assignment. The multiple choice, both of the 2 parts will be open. You can access your note, your laptop, BlueJ. You can search online. The only thing you're not allowed to do is to get direct assistant. You cannot pose a question and get an answer from anyone inside or outside the classroom. Now the multiple choice questions, I think now we have 25, but in the exam there will be 50 questions. And some of the questions will be asking you about some concepts. Some of them will contain code and ask you, a question pertaining to the code. All right, so to test your understanding. Now, to answer the question, multiple choice question that has a piece of code, there are 2 ways. You can think about it, or you can try to run the code and get the answer. Okay. The only catch is that you have 3 hours to finish the exam. So the time you're spending on typing in code to get results is time wasted. All right. So if you'd better prepare for the exam by reviewing the concepts we talked about, so that you can save yourself the time to type those questions, and maybe only type those who are really you find them tricky. You cannot really come up with an answer just by reading the question. Okay. So I'll try to do the 2 approaches now, and hopefully this will give you a sense of what you'll be dealing with in the exam, right? So let's start with question 1. And in question 1, you have this 4 lines of code, and the question is, what will be displayed in the terminal window as a result of running this code? Int x is equal to 2, and then y is equal to x plus 1, z is equal to y over x, and then print line z. And the choices are 1.5 to 10, 0.6667. So let's think about this question. First of all, there is an operation with a division, right? And we have 3 variables which are all integers, okay? So this should give you a hint that we are looking for a division operation which operates on integer variables, okay? Now the second key you need to use is to look at the values of those variables. X is equal to 2, y is equal to x plus 1, and then z is equal to y over x, okay? So let's try to run this code in our heads. Any volunteer? Yes, Laura, go for it. All right, 1.5, maybe. Well, let's run the code step by step. X is equal to 2, all right? Y is equal to x plus 1. What's the value of y? 3. Z is equal y over x, which is 3 over 2. Okay, so 3 over 2. 1.5 could be a potential answer. What could be another potential answer? 1. Why? Right. It's an integer division. So when we divide 2 integers, the result is the integer, the whole division. Right? There is no double in here involved in those 3 lines. So the result is 3 over 2 is 1. If you want to divide 3 apples, or to give them to 2 persons, each person will get 1 whole apple, and then the remainder would be 1. All right? Obviously, you can run the code. Maybe if you are fast. If there is a code with no classes, here is a hint. Type it fast as you can. And y is equal to x plus 1. Z is equal to y over x. And system out print line z, and the result is 1, okay? All right, so this is just a warm-up. Let's do question number 2. Again, the question is about what will be displayed in the terminal window. There are a bunch of Boolean variables, and there's a Boolean expression in an if statement. Okay, so basically what this question boils down to, evaluating a Boolean expression based on the values of those variables and the operations involved. So I'll give you a few minutes to think about it. Yes? You know the answer? Okay, very good. Maybe you can do question 3 or 4. All right, you want to go for it?
Sure.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so the else statement with for question given as asking if overcast is true, or sunny and normal humidity is true,
Mhm.
or if rain and east wind are true, and if none of those are true, none of those statements are true, then it's print statement.
Right. So this is a decision rule for playing tennis. You only play tennis if it's overcast, or if it's sunny but the humidity is normal, or if it's raining but the wind is weak, you still can play tennis. All right. Now, those variables have values, right? So there should be something printed out, and the option is play tennis, stay home. Okay. And play tennis, stay home, play tennis, or nothing is displayed. All right? So when you see this if-else statement, you should immediately know that it should be one of these. Those are just kind of tricky choices I'm giving to you. Like, one of them will be displayed, not both of them, all right? So you can take out those, options. It's basically either play tennis or stay home. Well, let's evaluate this expression. What's the value of overcast? False. Okay, so we have false. You just need a place to write. Okay, so I get false. Or, what's the value of sunny? True. What's the value of normal humidity? False. Okay, or what's the value of rain? False. And what's the value of frequent? True. Okay. So true and false will be false, right? False and true would be what? False or true? False. And then false or false or false would be false. So we would go to the else part, which is stay home. Yes?
Well, I might keep going back to question 1.
Mm-hmm.
So for question 1, is it only because if it had said double instead of integer, would the answer be 1.5?
Right, it would be 1.5.
So why is it, can you explain again why it's 1?
Because the integer division depends on the type of the operands. All right, if the two operands are integers, Java will do an integer division, which is a whole number division. Okay, and the result will be an integer too. If one of the operands is double, it will be a floating point, a double division. Okay, it's giving you an option to either do an integer division or a double division. Okay, sometimes you're not interested in the fractions. You're only interested in the whole number. So you can think about this as a method that is overloaded for different types, right? In this case, either integers or double, okay? All right, question number 3. All right. Int x is equal to 5, y is equal to x is equal to x plus 1, print line y. Print line y, 5, all right? All right, let's take a look at the answers. So the potential answers are 0, 4, 6, 1, 5, 5. All right? Any other suggestions? No? You all agree? What is this question asking you about? It's asking about y, and y has been initialized to x. So this question is asking you about assignment. Remember when we talked about the difference between assigning primitive data types and reference data types? This is basically a question asking you about probing your knowledge about assignment, whether it's by value or by reference. Okay? And since x and y are primitive data types, assignment is by value, so the value 5 is copied to y. Even if you increase x, this is not going to reflect back on y. Okay? So system out println y, it will be 5, and x will be 6. Because this is an assignment by value, not by reference. All right? So very good. The question is 5. The answer is 5. All right? So question number 4, we have a loop, and within the loop there is a condition, and it's printing an even number when this condition is true. Which one of the output will be the result of running this code? 3 even numbers, okay. So this is a question basically asking you to run this loop. You have to know like when the loop starts and when it ends. You can type the code and get the answer if you wish to do so, but let's just think about it conceptually. This is a loop that starts from I equals to 1, okay, and then ends at I less than 5, and then increasing 1 by 1. So what are the values of I within the loop? We get 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. 5 is not included because once I hits 5, the loop would break. Okay, so we get 1, 2, 3, 4, and we are displaying even number when I is even. Okay, because I modulo 2 equal to 0, it means I is even. So 1, 2, 3, 4, we get 2 and 4. So even number will be displayed twice. All right. Maybe if you're a fast typer, it would be easier to type it. But if you think about it, you have, knowing when it starts and when it ends, it'd be easy to, what? All right. Well, let's move on to, yes?
Sorry, can you explain what the percentage
It's the modulo operator. So remember the division operation, the integer division operation, 5 over 2. What's the result of 5 over 2? It will be 2, right? If I have 5 apples, I want to give them to 2 persons, I will give each person 2 apples. And I'll have 1 apple remaining, all right? So the modulo will give you the remaining 5, remainder 2, you will get 1, all right? So when you divide 5 over 2, a whole division, you get 2, and the remainder is 1, okay? Now, remainder 2 modulo 2, it means that I'm looking at the remainder after dividing over 2. So when the remainder is 0, if I divide over 2, it means that this number is even. It's divisible over 2, okay? And this is the condition we use to detect even and odd numbers somewhere during the course. Do you remember when we did that? The music track, I think we did print even and odd number at some point, okay? So I modulo 2 equal to 0, it means I'm testing whether I is even. If I want to test whether I is odd, it would be equals to 1, okay? All right, next we have this question about random number generator, getting 2 random integers and then adding them. And the question is, what's the largest possible value printed when this code is running? Mm. 12, okay. 10, all right. So it has to do with the implementation of nextInt. Remember when we said nextInt, it takes this value as a parameter, and then it will give you back a number which is between 0 and the parameter exclusive, right? So the largest value you can get out of this is 5, and 5 plus 5 will be 10, okay? The variable name being a dice is just for it to confuse you. It doesn't mean anything. It can be potato and still the value is 10, all right? It's a 5-sided dice, okay? And this code will be tricky actually to run because you have to run it many, many times to get to the largest value, because if you run it once, you may not get 10, okay? So it has to do with the implementation of nextInt. Again, you can check the documentation if you're not sure, or your notes, to see what this method will give you back. So for instance, if you look for Java random and then API, so you do API always to get the first hit to the documentation, and then scroll down to the method nextInt that takes a number. This will give you a random number between 0 inclusive and the specified value exclusive, okay? So 6 is not included, which means this number would be between 0 and 5, right? Question 7, array list and collections. We have an array list of string called animals. We're adding 3 items to it. And then we have this loop. And the question is, what will be displayed in the terminal window when this code is running? Oh, did I skip 6? I'm sorry, there is a question. Let's do 7 and we'll go back to 6. All right, any ideas? Same order? All right, so it's a question about ordering, basically. We are adding lion, cat, and tiger to the array list. So what's the location, the index of lion? Lion is the first item, so its location or index is 0. Cat is the second item, so it's 1. And then tiger is the third item, so its index is 2. And this is in a loop going from 0 to size. It's printing those animals in order, okay? So basically, you will get lion, cat, and tiger, which is this one. Okay? Question 6. Which one is the right way to create a scanner that reads from the text file data.csv? Second one, all right. Anyone to second this choice? All right. It's the second one, right? The first one does not exist. There is nothing called scanner get file, and anyway, you have to create a new scanner. The third one is creating a scanner without relating it to the file. The fourth one is reading from the keyboard, and the fifth one is not correct. You're reading from a string, not from a file. Okay, so it's the second one. All right. Let's get back to collections. Question 8. Now, it's similar to question 7, but instead of an array list, it's a hash set of animals, and we're adding a lion, cat, tiger, tiger, lion, and it's asking you about the size of this hash set. Two. All right. Is it 2? 3? So what's unique about a hash set compared to an array list? It's not allowed for duplicates, all right? So take a look at those elements added. We have a lion added twice, a cat added once, and a tiger added twice. So at the end of the day, there are 3 kinds of animals: a lion, a cat, and a tiger. So the size of this hash set is 3. Okay? Or there are 3 kinds of animals here: lion, cat, and tiger. All right? Ooh, I'm sorry. All right, you're right. It's 2. There's a remove. I didn't read the question carefully. Yes, she's correct. Animals that remove lion, we're taking out 1, so we end up with 2. Okay. Very good, yeah. So adding lion, cat, tiger, and then taking out lion, we will end up with a cat and a tiger. So we get 2. All right? All right. Yes?
I know for your list, 0 is a placeholder for a variable, but for a hash set, it's not, correct?
There is no method called get in a hash set. The method get is not defined for a hash set. There is a method called contains, which gives you back either true or false. All right? So if you try to do animals that get 0, this code wouldn't even compile because the method get is not defined for a hash set. Okay? If you want to list the animals in a hash set, you need to do a for each loop. Okay? For each string A in animals, you can extract them. You can test whether an element exists or not, but you cannot get at an index. Okay. Now we have a hash map, and I'd better read it carefully this time. All right. So we have a hash map, string called capitals, and then we are putting the capitals of Canada, USA, and Mexico. And then there is a loop string item in the key set of this map, printing the item. What will we get? Would we get the capitals, the capital and the country, nothing, or the country and the capital? Okay, which is this one. All right, that's right. So this is a question probing for your understanding of a hash map. And don't forget, a hash map, it's an association between keys and values. Okay. So the keys in here, which is the first element added, is the country, and the value is the capital city. All right. So when you get the key set will give you a set containing the keys, which are the countries. And we will print each element in the key set, meaning one of the countries added, right? If this method call has been values, then we would have gotten the values, which are the capital cities. Okay? Well, so to display both of them, you need to get the key and then get the value associated with the key. Or if you do system out print line and then the whole hash map, it would be displayed as a one line as a hash map. Okay? All right. Moving to arrays. All right, so question 10, again asking about the result of running the code, and there are 2 arrays and some numbers, so have fun. Wednesday, okay. Tuesday, Thursday, anyone? Thursday? Maybe? Well, actually, let's run it in our heads, okay? So let's try to evaluate this kind of statement manually. So we have 2 arrays here, and there is an index 2. So let's first try to evaluate the value of numbers 2. What's the value of numbers 2? It's actually 3 because numbers starts from 0, so 0, 1, 2. Numbers 2 is 3. So basically I'm asking about weekdays 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. It's Thursday. Okay. So it's going to be Thursday. If you don't believe me, just type it in and get the result. All right. So again, both arrays in array list, this indexing starts from 0, and this is crucial. This is the index of those numbers stored in this integer array. So you have to start counting from 0. 0, 1, 2. 0, 1, 2, 3. Oh, are we done? Okay, I thought we had more questions. We had more questions. Yes.
So is the zero doesn't line up to 1, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It does?
It does not.
Wouldn't 2 be 3 and 3 would be...
All right, let's do it. So that's what indexing is always confusing, because most programming languages start indexing at 0, not at 1. So when you have an array of integers, okay, if you do numbers 0, it will be the first number, okay, and numbers 1 will be the second number, okay. So what this statement is doing, basically, it's taking numbers 2, which is actually 3. So numbers 2 is 3, and I'm asking you about weekdays 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay? So I'm doubling down on indexing in this question. All right? Okay.
How many of those questions did you say were going to be
50.
like the same kind of questions, or are they going to be
There will be some true and false questions. So there will be a mix of questions, such as the one you got in the home quizzes, like just conceptual questions. And there is some multiple choice questions that there will be a piece of code to think about or type.
So what, 30%?
100 over 250. And 0.0 because I need a double division, 0.4, which is 40%. What happens if I do 100 over 250? 0. Okay.
So would you suggest us going back to all the home quizzes and looking at those?
Do the home quizzes. The main thing you need, it's basically testing for your understanding of the concepts we talked about. The fors, the if statement, the variables, the different kinds of variables, the collections.
So it won't be like as specific as the home question, as the home quiz question?
No. What do you mean by a specific?
Like some of them are like super, like I don't know, like some of the questions are super specific in the home quiz.
Well, the home quizzes are just meant for you to do the readings. It's just
Yeah.
an incentive for you to
How do
do.
you advise me to prepare for that? Because it's kind of full of it.
For what? For the
Like the true false. That's a lot.
So let's finish the programming assignment, and then we'll try to answer more general questions. I'm not sure, has any one of you tried to do this before coming, or had a chance to look at the code? Okay. Yeah. All right, so this is a programming assignment. It's basically an extension of the rock, paper, scissors game by adding 3 other kind of what's the name? Figures, weapons, Lizard and Spock. Okay. So this is basically, I'm giving you a project, which is the rock, paper, scissors, and game, and I'm asking you to do something extra over it. Okay. So in the exam, I will be giving you some code, and you will be completing it based on the instructions. Okay. Now, let's go quickly over this implementation of the game. This is basically an implementation of a rock, paper, scissors game. There is the class called game. There is a reader, a scanner to read from the keyboard, and random to generate a random number. Okay, and those are created in the instructor. Print instructions is a method that prints the instructions. getUserChoice is a method that asks the user to enter rock, paper, and scissors, and then read this input and return it. Okay. And there's a method called getProgramChoice that will generate that choice randomly. Okay. So getUserChoice will ask the user to enter rock, paper, or scissors. GetProgramChoice will generate either rock, paper, or scissors randomly. Okay. Well, the idea is that you want to alternate. You want to ask the user and then the program to make the choice, and the game would play. Okay. Now there's a method called tie, and it's a tie if choice 1 equals choice 2. All right. And there's a method called beat that implements the game rules. Basically, it's choice 1 beats choice 2 when choice 1 is scissors and choice 2 is paper. Scissors got paper. Choice 1 beats choice 2 also when choice 1 is paper and choice 2 is rock. And then when choice 1 is rock and choice 2 is scissors. Okay, scissors beat paper, paper beats rock, and rock beats scissors. Okay, if none of this is true, you get false. All right. So tie and beat will be used to determine whether those choices result in a tie or a winning game. Okay. And then you've got this is the method implementing a match. You first print instruction, ask the user to enter a choice, ask the program to enter a choice, and then confirm those two choices. If there's a tie display, it's a tie. If user beats program, you say you win. If the program beats the user, you say I win. Okay? And this method will be played in multiple number of rounds. I think the program would ask you to forget about those. It will ask you at the beginning to enter how many times you want to play this game. Okay? But the main method is match. All right? And since this is a super excited game, I'm very inclined to play it. I'm going to create a new object game and then do match. Okay, let's do paper. It's a tie. Okay. And then let's do rock. Okay, I lost. All right, so I'm going just to walk you through it step by step. Let's do another match. So first, you print instruction for the game. And second, you ask the user to enter the choice, which is enter rock, paper, scissors, and then do a reader next line. So let's do paper. Okay, so that input paper would be returned. Okay, and then you ask the program to generate a random choice, basically. Oh, I stepped over it. So basically, this choice was generated randomly. And then you confirm those two choices, displaying them. And then you test whether it's a tie or not, okay, by calling the method tie. And tie would be false here. And then you call the method beat to decide whether user choice beats program choice. Let's step into it. User choice is paper, program choice is scissors. So none of them is true, okay? It's going to be false, which means the program won this game. You print that, okay? Now, what this assignment is asking you to do, it's asking you to extend this game by implementing, by adding two extra weapons, which are lizard and Spock. And to do lizard, I think you should make your hand like a lizard, and Spock, you do, Captain Spock greetings. All right, it's an extension of rock, paper, scissors. It's a real extension, actually. Some people play this game. Okay. So I want you to modify print instructions to print the modified instructions. GetUserChoice needs to be modified because there are two more weapons, 5 total. Same thing for getProgramChoice, and same thing for beat. Okay. Once you do that, there are extra points for documentation. All right. So I'm also giving points for documentation, generous points for documentation. Make sure not to miss this question in the exam. And then you can test it and make sure it's working fine. So I'm gonna give you some time to, if you would like to work on it, and then I'm gonna stop this recording and